Now at 5, a close call in Harriman as a wildfire threatens several homes this afternoon. We'll have a live report coming up in just moments.
And we're keeping our eye to the sky. Chance of afternoon thunderstorms. Will they linger on throughout the weekend? I'll let you know in the forecast.
It was just kind of like throwing back in school.
Plus a big partnership between Intermountain Healthcare and the Alpine School District to keep students following brain injuries healthy. We'll explain what they're doing to protect them inside the game and out.
A courtroom like no other here on the Jordan River to help people experiencing homelessness.
And it is going to be a big weekend for country music fans. Garth Brooks is playing Salt Lake City, but scammers will want to take advantage of the occasion. What you need to know so you don't get conned.
We are continuing to follow developing news out of Harriman, where firefighters are keeping a close eye on what's left behind from a field fire.
Well, this afternoon, 30 homes were forced to evacuate. However, a big response from firefighters stopped it before any of those homes were damaged.
It happened after 1 p.m. west of Rose Canyon Road at about 6800 West. Fox 13's Haley Higgins is there live. And Haley, do they have some idea of what caused this?
Hi, Max and Kelly. No, they have not been able to pinpoint exactly what sparked this fire, but I want to show you just how close it came to these homes. Really a close call for about 30 homes that had to evacuate. The flames reached 20 feet high, and they were speeding uphill quickly. Now, as you know, this extreme drought has made any field fire significantly more dangerous. And with the close proximity to these homes, Unified Fire knew they needed to act fast and called in at least 70 firefighters from 7 different agencies, 2 planes, and a helicopter.
It's hot, it's windy, so that's why we called for all those extra resources to come in, because we knew we had to take care of this quick before it got much worse.
Now, within about an hour, the fire was under control. It only reached 4 acres, and no firefighters were hurt, and everyone is able to go back to their homes. Reporting live in Harriman, Haley Higgins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Haley, thank you. Take a look at what the wildfire risk looks like across the state right now. The Department of Natural Resources says the dark red areas are the most dangerous, while the dark green are the least. And there's a lot of red on that map. We do have a link to this map if you'd like to view it again on our website, fox13now.com.
And time to turn to bracket. It's been a kind of an unusual weather week, starting with a whole lot of smoke from outside the state, talking about very hot temperatures, and then a lot of thunderstorms.
Oh,
the flash flooding, yeah.
It's been all over the place here as we, look at the afternoon, especially as we look in central and southern Utah. We are seeing those scattered thunderstorms. Improvement with the smoke and the air quality. A view from our Ochre Mountain camera, actually looking towards the south end of the Salt Lake Valley, including Harriman, where let's take a look at current conditions in Harriman, where the fire is put out. Keep an eye on hot spots. A big factor and a concern moving forward would be winds, whereas we show you the current conditions. Right now we're seeing winds out of the southeast at 10 miles per hour. They have been increasing a little bit, but not a big concern. However, we do see some isolated thunderstorms making their move towards this region. And here's the thing, at least throughout most of northern Utah, these scattered thunderstorms over the past few days have been producing a little precipitation, but a lot of wind. So our eye is on this little thunderstorm as it makes its move closer, pushing up towards Saratoga Springs, and then potentially could be tracking through the south end of Salt Lake Valley. And additional thunderstorms into the forecast as we look ahead, as this line will continue to track towards the Wasatch Front. It is losing some steam, though. Earlier on, though, we did have some heavy rain with a few bands making their move as we talk just south of Panguitch along Highway 14 as you're heading over towards Cedar City. And actually, with these thunderstorms slow to move and heavy precipitation being produced, we do have a flash flood warning in effect as this will be expiring shortly. But it's been an active day here as this moisture still in place. Looking for the Wasatch Front, though, moving ahead. Temperatures we'll see near high 80s to low 90s. We're going to be clearing out skies. Moisture is on the move, though, as we head into the weekend. What does that mean for your chances of rain and thunderstorms as we look for tomorrow and Sunday? I'll let you know coming up.
Thank you, Breck. The Utah Department of Environmental Quality and the Utah County Department of Health are recommending an open water warning advisory for all of Utah Lake. As we have been reporting, more and more toxic algal blooms have been contaminating the lake, as well as some other reservoirs across Utah. Shallow water is where the issue is most present. Marinas are remaining open for personal watercraft access, but water recreation in the lake, in other words, swimming, wading, having pets in there, should be avoided.
A new program in Salt Lake County will measure air quality in neighborhoods using electric buses. Some of Utah Transit Authority's electric buses will be equipped with a monitor that feeds real-time air quality data back to researchers. The program will begin with 2 routes crossing east and west sides of Salt Lake County, but experts with the project say this is much more than just gathering data.
This is not just getting data, but we actually have a program with the county to then go to these neighborhoods and talk to them about the air quality and give them advice on to how to protect themselves and how to curb their own emissions.
Well, this project will be scaled to increase air quality monitoring to all communities when new electric buses are added to UTA's fleet. When built to full capacity, the program has the potential to create the most detailed pollution mapping system in the world.
The Salt Lake County District Attorney says 2 officers had no choice but to use deadly force during an officer-involved incident in Harriman last year. Sim Gill, the district attorney, today said the officers were justified in opening fire on Isaac Christensen when he reached to grab a gun that was in front of him. Police say Christensen was in the neighborhood of a woman who had a protective order against him the night of October 27, 2020. They say he had threatened neighbors with a gun and fired several rounds before moving under a van with 2 guns, which is where officers found him.
They've confirmed the fire. They've confirmed the presence, and then at that moment when he does that aggressive movement towards the weapon with an open hand, that is when they made the decision to fire.
Gill says there was no indication from Christensen to try to alleviate the situation. Christensen was shot 9 times. Officers tried to give medical aid, but he died at the scene.
We focus on actively trying to treat their disease. We don't go into a dark room and wait for it to get better. You get better slower if you do that.
A new program is being launched in a partnership between Alpine School District and Intermountain Healthcare, all to help students with brain injuries succeed in school.
Fox 13's Spencer Joseph is live at Lavelle Edwards Stadium, ready to play a game right after he's done with this live shot, but he has more on this new revolutionary approach. Spencer.
Absolutely, and I think a lot of viewers out there probably thought when we said school and brain injury, you thought of sports, especially probably football. Well, yes, that is a factor in brain injuries in schools. However, the Alpine School District and Intermountain want to break that stigma. You don't have to be playing football or any other sport to get a brain injury, nor do you even have to be on campus. And no student knows that better than Nathan Boss.
It was really rough and a really long recovery.
By the time he was in 9th grade, Nathan Boss had already had 3 concussions.
I felt the effects of that all the way to my senior year.
Once an excellent student.
I was in AP classes.
And after that 3rd and final concussion, he started seeing Fs.
My teachers, they wanted to help me. They tried to help me, but we're just grasping at straws.
Along with the extreme anxiety and depression, Nathan was struggling, and it was a long road to recovery. But that's where Mom, an educator at Alpine School District, thought we can do better.
1 a year for 3 consecutive years highlighted for me the need to have a comprehensive program.
Alpine School District started working with Intermountain Healthcare.
We need them. It's vital to have them as part of the group.
But there was a stigma to overcome, that these injuries only happen while in sports. In Nathan's case, only 1 of the 3 happened while playing rugby. The other 2 were outside of school.
Most of the patients we see are non-athletes. They get injuries outside of formal athletics.
Alpine currently tracks concussions in sports on their campuses.
We don't know what the whole student population would be. There has been a gap in addressing concussions from the education side.
So the Return to Learn program was born, and now Alpine School District will be using it to track progress for any student with a concussion, so those like Nathan will have the support to succeed after a traumatic injury.
This is why we do what we do.
I have great satisfaction. You know, there was not a program in place for my son.
Everybody, not just sports related, can come back and not have to just struggle through the entirety of high school.
So Nathan's story was really the catalyst for this, and his mom is actually inside that conference right now presenting this program to educators, healthcare providers, neuropsychiatric experts, and much, much more to make sure that this program can be shared across the state and help any student that had an experience like Nathan. But for now, live on the campus at BYU, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Thank you, Spencer. And still to come, what is the meaning of all of these boxes? We're going to explain why the monument has a lot of meaning behind it, plus where you can check it out.
And supporting local filmmakers. Hear about a new program that aims to help students with big aspirations for the silver screen and beyond. A great program here. The Christmas Box International celebrated a big milestone today, 25 years of service to children dealing with abuse. Leaders with the nonprofit unveiled an 8-foot monument today to celebrate the occasion. The monument looks like a Christmas tree made of 125 boxes. There they are. Each box represents 1,000 children the organization has helped since it began in 1966.
As a former foster child, I couldn't be more pleased that we have this beautiful facility to keep brothers and sisters together and help families reunify when it's safe. And yeah, we're just happy the community joined us today for this fun celebration.
A little correction there. The organization began in 1996, and they provide a safe place for abused and neglected children once they've been taken into state custody. They have several volunteer opportunities and other ways you can help. We'll link you there at fox13now.com.
Landing a job in the filmmaking industry can be difficult, but a new mentorship program is hoping to open the doors to aspiring movie makers. The Utah Filmmakers Association and the Utah Film Commission is working together to pair up aspiring filmmakers with veterans in the industry. They recognize the business side of filmmaking is not as openly taught in film schools, and they hope the program will help the next generation of movie makers find success.
What happens, I think, mostly is not so much that people wind up being taken advantage of, is that they don't know exactly how to go about doing the business of filmmaking.
If you are interested in becoming a mentor or a mentee in the program, you can fill out an application on their website. We have it linked for you at fox13now.com.
If you want your kids to have adequate immunity on day one of school, now is the time to start the series.
Can you believe it? We are now just a month or so out from the start of school, and doctors are wanting parents to act right away before COVID cases spike even more. Still ahead, their urgent message for parents.
A judge is transforming the Jordan River into a courtroom. I'll tell you why.
As families prepare for a new school year, Utah medical experts are asking parents to add one more thing to your back-to-school checklist. They say if your child is eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine, it's time to get one. With limited use of masks for the upcoming school year, experts worry that without the vaccine, children will potentially get sick at school, spread the virus, and miss time in class.
I think outbreaks in schools are virtually inevitable, unfortunately. With limited use of masks after the legislative special session, we've set ourselves up for a very difficult school year.
Above all, experts warn that if you have questions about the vaccine, go straight to your pediatrician because there are a lot of false rumors on the internet about it.
There are 669 new COVID-19 cases today, along with 4 more deaths. One death that was reported yesterday, however, was removed from the total count. 281 people are now hospitalized with the virus. Our weekly positivity rate is now 13.8%. 6,300 more Utahns have been vaccinated since yesterday's report. About 3,000 more Utahns are now considered fully vaccinated. Meantime, all 50 states and Washington, D.C. now seeing a rise rise in COVID cases.
In 38 of those states, cases have gone up 50% compared to last week. This as the vaccination rates continue to drop and the Delta variant takes its toll.
Daryl Forges has the details.
Kim McGinn was a mother, grandmother, and elementary school teacher in Little Rock, Arkansas, who chose not to get vaccinated against COVID-19.
She firmly believed that it had been around for so long that she wasn't going to get it until she did get it.
The 63-year-old died from coronavirus.
This is becoming a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
The CDC says it's seeing outbreaks in parts of the country that have low vaccination rates. Low vaccination rates, combined with the dominant Delta variant, can be deadly.
Our biggest concern is that we are going to continue to see preventable cases, hospitalizations, and sadly deaths among the unvaccinated.
Data shows COVID-19 cases rising in all 50 states. The last time that happened was in early January, when fewer than 1 million people were fully vaccinated. To get more shots in arms, the Biden administration now pushing against disinformation about the virus and the vaccine.
We're calling on everyone. Social media platforms, news organizations, individual Americans to call this activity out.
Kim McGinn's family is urging others to get vaccinated before it's too late.
You are less likely to get sick and wind up in the hospital. Now, that's not saying you might not still get COVID. I'm fully vaccinated and I still got COVID, but I recovered. The vaccine is worth it.
I'm Daryl Forges reporting.
When you come to my court can be difficult.
It is a different way to help people experiencing homelessness and help them get court help.
Yeah, certainly not a traditional courtroom there. A Salt Lake City Justice Court judge is taking care of legal troubles from a boat. Fox 13's Ben Winslow has the story, new at 5.
To help people experiencing homelessness who may be facing criminal charges or other issues, a judge has decided to bring her courtroom here to the Jordan River.
And I recreate on this river.
It is 211.
This is Judge Jean Robison's courtroom. Once a month, she takes a flotilla of social workers, prosecutors, defense attorneys, and judicial assistants down the river to provide outreach to people camping out.
We're doing tandem teams, a water team and a team along the bike path. The first is the social workers.
They offer to check if there's warrants or other minor legal issues pending and get it taken care of right there on the river.
One homeless person can rack up hundreds of cases just by virtue of having nowhere else to be. If you don't have a home and you have a beer, then you have an open container of alcohol in public. If you don't have a home and you don't go have a place to use a restroom, then you get a public urination charge. And if you don't have a home and you're sleeping on public or private property, you can get a camping in public or a trespass charge.
90 days suspended.
Judge Robison says she often sentences people to community service that can lead to a job or recall a warrant that prevents them from getting housing.
Our goal is to remove those barriers to people transitioning out of homelessness. Some people think we're not holding them accountable. Our goal is to hold them accountable for their criminal conduct, but appropriately accountable.
The judge says the idea came from a friend who's a social worker as they kayaked along the Jordan River.
Inevitably, if we'd go down the river on a Saturday or a Sunday, we would run into our clients.
They've nicknamed it Kayak Court. The bikes and boats are donated. Instead of a formal courtroom, prosecutors and defense attorneys agreed to try this approach.
And it's not easy to put all these people together and work, and they've been so gracious and hospitable.
The Salt Lake City Mayor's office says it fully supports this out-of-the-box idea.
Being able to meet with a judge at your camp on the river, be reassured about some things can be handled here. We can do it in a way that'll be workful for you to get you back on your feet. That's a huge deal for a lot of folks.
And the judge says she'll keep doing Kayak Court until the weather changes. In Salt Lake City, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Not all that would be the thing dependent on the weather. Hey, we're depending on the weather, of course, Mother Nature to help us out, bringing some rain, helping to water our lawns. But of course, as we've been increasing the moisture central and southern Utah over the past few days, we've been seeing this active weather and flash flooding, which has been a little bit of concern here across south central Utah. Not in St. George, though. Temperatures not too bad, close to 100 degrees, but definitely we've been under a slight cooling trend moving through this past week, at least for St. George. Right now in Salt Lake City, temperatures not too much different. We're at 97 degrees. We'll say partly cloudy skies, winds fairly light. Air quality has been improving. We're good. green lights here all along the Wasatch Front where we've been pushing away the smoke, but pushing away the threat of flash flooding. Let's talk about that possibility. Now, for today, the projections were that we would be under yellow or a possibility. For tomorrow, though, green lights for many locations, particularly as we look south central through southwestern Utah. A couple of spots, though, bigger concern, natural bridges as we turn towards southeastern Utah. Definitely probable as the moisture is on the move with this upper level moisture and this monsoon flow tracking a little bit further eastward as we move toward tomorrow. But we're not done with what we're seeing here today, these thunderstorms that are still producing some heavy rain. We look just east of Kanab, a decent thunderstorm there, heavy rain. We're kind of seeing there's an update potentially for some flash flooding throughout that region. There has been some concerns as south of Panguitch where that flash flood warning that was in effect has expired, but active weather just south of Beaver, moving further northward. We're seeing some showers delta southward as well, tracking towards I-15. Potentially as we go from Beaver down through Scipio, or up through Scipio, I should say, we could see some rain showers. Not much along the Wasatch Front, except here over the past 15 minutes, at least west of the Great Salt Lake, some thunderstorms developing could produce some heavy rain along I-80. Even though we're going to see these showers somewhat dissipating, the possibility of seeing a brief thunderstorm definitely in effect for northern through western, southwestern Utah. And again, the high pressure in its position, pumping the moisture throughout the state. But this high pressure in its position moving further westward, which means we're going to see the moisture flow somewhat decrease here across the state moving throughout the weekend. Let's confirm, looking at our computer models, whereby after midnight things do improve across the state. We wake up tomorrow morning with some lingering moisture across southeastern Utah, but not much activity with those afternoon thunderstorms for tomorrow. And then the moisture moving further west for Sunday. So again, a decreased threat of seeing those isolated thunderstorms and less of a chance of seeing flash flooding moving through the weekend. We'll see temperatures on the rise, though, back into the triple digits for Salt Lake City. We'll call it mostly sunny skies throughout the state tomorrow. Maybe an isolated mountain shower through southern Utah. St. George, though, the monsoon moisture does return for next week, giving a better chance of some scattered afternoon showers, especially Tuesday, Wednesday, into Thursday as well. Northern Utah, hot for the weekend, triple digits. We'll also see increasing clouds, a slight chance of some showers. Yeah, that moisture makes its move focus first for southern Utah and trying to push further northward. Better chance towards the end of the week and maybe seeing some scattered afternoon thunderstorms. But we'll be in the 90s next week. But for the weekend, again, back into the triple digits.
We're going to feel the effects of this drought, especially amongst agriculture, for years to come.
It has been a dire outlook all summer long. The drought emergency has been hitting all of us hard. Hear from one farmer who is fighting to survive this drought. Also from an activist who wants more to be done.
And have you been dreading paying student loans once again later this fall? We'll explain why you actually might have more time on that deferment. That's coming up in Money Watch. Turning to Money Watch, signs are increasing that student loan borrowers may receive more time before they need to keep making payments.
Most borrowers' bills have stopped making payments for the last 16 months due to a break given by the U.S. Department of Education, all because of the COVID pandemic. Now, those payments are scheduled to restart in October. The White House, however, may be considering an extension, with Democrats even sending a letter to President Biden last month urging him not to restart payments until March 2022. Experts say an extension is currently being reviewed.
Sales of homes in the U.S. are on the decline, suggesting the housing market frenzy may have peaked for the year. Sales fell 1.2% from May to June. That's the biggest drop in nearly a decade. Redfin's chief economist says sales are stalling because of skyrocketing prices that are beyond what many buyers can afford. In June, the number of homes for sale dropped about 28% compared to last year.
Despite a solid rebound in retail sales reported for June, stocks ended today in the red. Take a look here. The Dow dropped nearly 300 points, with oil company and bank stocks leading the way down. The Dow and the S&P 500 finished the week just slightly lower overall and not far off from their record highs.
One Utah farmer says he is in survival mode during these drought conditions. I'm Aaron Cox, and coming up next, I'm going to show you his story, as well as remarks from Governor Cox and one man who believes we can be doing more to conserve water.
Coming up, get information from Utah's Consumer Protection Agency on how to avoid ticket scams if you're still looking for last-minute tickets to tomorrow's Garth Brooks concert.
To say it plainly, agriculture in Utah is in survival mode right now.
One Utah farmer is fighting to make ends meet, but the drought conditions continue to hinder his efforts.
Governor Spencer Cox held a press conference on the farmers' land today to raise awareness of agriculture needs and how that impacts Utah's economy.
But as Fox 13's Aaron Cox shows you, some say there's more the governor could do.
The soil and land here in Layton has been owned by Tyson Roberts' family since 1848.
In my time farming, 25, 30 years, it's the most we've felt the effects of it.
The purple flowers on the alfalfa plants, though pretty, blossomed too soon in the season.
If it was a normal year where we had the irrigation water we needed, that would all be green, and then right before it starts to blossom, we would harvest it.
Roberts says he had to cut back 70% of his water usage this year and left nearly 15% of his land unplanted.
When you look at an operation like ours, that's about the profit margin for the year.
A profit Roberts says they won't see.
If I have a really good harvest, then that's the break-even point.
In his remarks at Roberts' farm, Governor Spencer Cox said cutting back on water cuts into crop harvests, nutrition and consumption for animals, and changes the supply and cost of food.
So when the price of food goes up, the wealthy will do just fine. The middle class will do okay. They'll get through. But the most needy amongst us are going to feel it the most. So when our farmers struggle because of drought, there's a tax on the poor.
Governor Cox spoke passionately about the problems farmers face and what that could mean for Utah's future economy. But one man says he wishes the governor would speak more about solutions.
We need real solutions to save water, and we need them right now.
Zach Frankel started the Utah Rivers Council back in 1994.
We knew that Utah was lagging behind other states in conserving water.
In 2 decades, Frankel has watched multiple water conservation bills be presented and stopped at the legislature. Frankel and his team looked at each bill and then estimated percentage of proposed conservation. They added it all together for a rough estimate of what could have been.
It is the equivalent of a reservoir of 1.5 million acre feet.
A focus on saving water, for Roberts, saving his family farm.
If we can grow food with it instead of a lawn, then I think it's a good move.
Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
The Iron County Sheriff's Office is asking the public to stay away from the area where a train derailed after a large thunderstorm. This happened just after 10 o'clock last night while the train was crossing a bridge about 30 miles north of Cedar City. The train was traveling around 60 miles per hour when it came off the tracks. 3 people on board were taken to the hospital. The sheriff's office also says they have not been able to confirm a report that there is explosive material on the train. Union Pacific is working on the cleanup, and the NTSB is investigating the accident.
Some scary moments along a Tooele County highway this morning when a semi-truck rolled over on State Route 36. The Utah Highway Patrol says the semi-truck rolled near the town of Vernon. That's in the southern part of Tooele County, about equidistant from Utah Lake, or in between, or about the same distance south as Utah Lake, blocking traffic in both directions for about an hour. The semi-driver was taken to a local hospital with minor injuries. Nobody else was hurt.
You're lucky enough to play music, that's what you get to do, but the truth is it's who you play it for that makes all the difference. And what I love about coming here is they make you feel like the music is the most important thing on the planet.
Hey, look at that guy.
He looks great.
He does. He looks young.
He looks really, really good. I'm surprised. Yeah.
We're not surprised, Garth. We know you always look good, right?
I mean, I think he looks better than he ever has.
No, he really does.
Yeah.
And 50,000 fans will be able to see him live tomorrow night. They're expected to pack Rice-Eccles Stadium to see the man perform. He is a showman, Garth Brooks. It will be one of the first major concerts since the start of the pandemic.
But as more events open to big crowds, scammers are going to be looking to take advantage of people buying a ticket at the last minute.
Fox 13's Diego Romo shows you how you can avoid being conned, all new at 5:30.
The setup has started here at Rice-Eccles Stadium in anticipation for Saturday's Garth Brooks concert. Many people are still hopping online to find last-minute tickets, and the Utah Division of Consumer Protection tells us how you can avoid losing money on a ticketing scam.
The message that we want people to have is go and enjoy these events. It's great that things are opening back up to where we have these events happening again, but just be aware as you do it. Take precautions to make sure that you know what you're buying.
Daniel O'Bannon says it's important to do your research before buying resale tickets or tickets from a secondary vendor.
It's just fine to buy tickets from secondary sellers, but you need to realize what you're doing. You may pay more, you may have less of a refund policy that's available to you. So just, pay attention to what you're doing. Know where you are buying from.
He says there are some pretty common themes among fraudulent ticket sellers that you should look out for.
So when things just don't seem to add up, the ticket price is too low, that could be a red flag. Or you're having trouble finding reviews about your seller.
O'Bannon recommends buying from well-known and established vendors like Smith's Tix or StubHub.
In a normal year, with all of the events that happen throughout Utah, we're talking about a pretty small percentage of all the tickets. So people should feel very comfortable and very safe buying tickets and going to these events and going to these venues.
Even with extra research, scams can still happen. If you lose out on money, there are steps you can take to report the ticket vendor.
So if you don't have that experience, you go and you can't get in, or the ticket's not what it was represented to be, you can contact the Utah Division of Consumer Protection and we can help you with that circumstance.
O'Bannon says to keep receipts from any ticket purchases you make, which will help if it ends up being a scam. We'll link you over to the Utah Division of Consumer Protection's website over at fox13now.com. In Salt Lake City, Diego Romo, Fox 13 News, Utah.
With temperatures expected to still be scorching the evening of Garth Brooks' performance, University of Utah staff members want those attending tomorrow night to stay safe and cool.
I am concerned with dressing cool. So make sure that you're avoiding materials such as polyester or even denim. I know that this is a country concert and denim is a popular choice. Try to go with like light material, cotton. Shorts and skirts are recommended.
Well, the stadium is allowing fans to bring in their own water bottles. They will have refilling stations throughout. Garth Brooks is expected to take the stage at 8 o'clock. Well, some big news about another popular artist, John Mayer, who's, man, looking sultry there, isn't he?
He is.
Anyway, he just released his new album.
That's right. And we also know he will be playing Salt Lake City on his upcoming tour. The new album is called Sob Rock. It's his first new album in 4 years. But if you're into him, mark your calendars. The Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter will play Vivint Arena on Friday, March 25th, 2022. So next year. This is a big deal in the sense of we haven't had these concerts here for so long. So tickets do go on sale online starting next Friday at 11 a.m.
And is Sob about crying, or is it an acronym? I'm just not sure what it's going for. But there you go. Still to come, we'll show you how Senator Mike Lee and other community leaders gave back to an important cause in West Valley City today.
Now we're getting a little break from the heat. Of course, we've been bringing the clouds, these afternoon thunderstorms. We're back with the heat, though. Any chance of rain throughout the weekend? I'll let you know after the break.
A federal judge has now halted a lawsuit over one of Utah's bans on abortion. Planned Parenthood and the ACLU sued the state and the Salt Lake County District Attorney over a law the legislature passed that bans elective abortions after 18 weeks. The plaintiffs and the DA's office want the case to go forward. The judge says because the U.S. Supreme Court is considering an abortion case, he's halting the lawsuit. Utah's ban is not enforceable right now because of a restraining order issued by the judge.
A St. George area man serving a 30-year sentence in an Alaska state prison for the murder of his wife has been found dead in that prison. According to the Alaska Department of Corrections, 43-year-old Kenneth Manzanares was found dead in his cell on Wednesday morning. You probably remember he pleaded guilty last year to second-degree murder for killing his wife aboard the Emerald Princess cruise ship in 2017. The Utah couple was vacationing with family at the time. She was beaten to death inside their cabin. Prosecutors say he tried to throw her body overboard. As far as Kenneth's death, no foul play is suspected. His death was not COVID-19 related, they say.
FBI agents have arrested an Arizona man who was dressed like a character from the Book of Mormon during the Capitol insurrection that happened this year on January 6th. According to court documents, Nathan Entrekin, there he is, he stood out from the crowd for obvious reasons. He was wearing an outfit. It was the nature of the costume that really made him stand out. It was worn by him imitating Captain Moroni, who was depicted in the Book of Mormon as a military leader and a hero. And Trenkin has been seen in online videos suggesting Utah Senator Mitt Romney is a, quote, infiltrator who sold out to the system.
The summer is bringing a boost to Utah's economy and job market. According to the Utah Department of Workforce Services, June's unemployment rate stayed at 2.7%, with around 44,000 Utahns unemployed. On the other hand, the job growth increased from 2.3% in May to 3.3% last month. Fox 13 spoke with Nate McDonald with the department about that bump on Good Day Utah this morning.
We usually don't see one that high, so that's some good news as far as a lot of jobs being out there and available.
Nationally, the unemployment rate for last month increased slightly to 5.9%.
Senator Mike Lee, along with Zion's Bank, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as well as other groups, gave back to people in need today.
Senator Lee hosted the annual Flavors of Utah event in West Valley City. Community leaders donated locally made food products to the My Hometown initiative. It's the 6th year this event has been held.
Still ahead, a new service is letting people rent out pools in strangers' backyards. We're looking into how this works and what to consider before renting one.
And later in sports, we have our 2 finalists at the Utah State Am semifinal action from Highland to come, while Mr. Finau looked pretty dang good today at the Open Championship, but how far up the board did he climb? Back in a bit.
Finally, Friday, everyone. Hope you're enjoying it. Thank you so much for being with us. We've got Max Roth in for Bob Evans, who's away, and meteorologist Breck Bolton is here tonight, and he will have your full weather forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Well, across the country, people are starting to rent out their swimming pools, and not to families and friends, but to complete strangers.
I guess it was family and friends. You'd hope it wasn't renting it out.
That's the truth. Well, you know, you never know how often they want to use it.
Depends on the relative, huh? It's all thanks to a new app called Swimply. Chris Conti shows us what you need to know if you plan on using it.
Erin Moriarty is not the kind of person who likes to slow down.
No, I don't sit on the couch ever. No, I am constantly doing something.
When the pandemic hit last year, this 3rd grade teacher saw an opportunity. She began selling and branding her own line of paddle boards.
I'm hoping to sell out of all 500 boards by the end of the summer.
Always about the side hustle, Erin recently discovered another one sitting in her backyard.
The swimming pool is another side hustle that I wasn't really even thinking about.
Erin is now renting out her pool on a new app called Swimply. She charges strangers about $130 an hour to use her pool. It's been a lucrative venture.
As people learn about the fact that this website exists and it's possible to rent somebody's pool, people are interested.
As the company's founder, Asher Weinberger, believes Americans have come around to the whole idea of sharing their homes, cars, and even pools.
We do owe a debt of gratitude to the broader sharing economy, right? Thank you very much, Airbnb and others like that, who've made this type of thing somewhat normal.
Swimply has spent 2 years working with insurance companies to provide pool hosts with $1 million insurance policy. Customers who receive below 5-star reviews are dropped from the platform.
You're not going into someone's home, right? You're going through a side entrance into a backyard. Lots of us have borrowed pools from friends or family before, or neighbors.
There is plenty of money to be made here. About 17% of Americans own a pool, hot tub, or spa. Swimming is the 5th most popular activity in the U.S. California and Florida have the most in-ground swimming pools in the country. But every year, about 6,700 Americans visit an emergency room due to injuries related to pools.
If your insurance isn't covering you, I would be concerned.
That is Len Spada. He's a personal injury attorney. In his 30 years practicing law, he's settled hundreds of cases related to pool injuries and even drownings.
To me, as someone in the business, it's terrifying to me. It's I see so much exposure and risk to the homeowner or the host.
For people considering renting out their pools, Spada's biggest piece of advice is to check your home insurance policy. Even though Swimply comes with $1 million in coverage, homeowners may have clauses in their coverage which prevent them from renting out a pool, potentially leaving hosts exposed for millions if something happens.
It's different than inviting friends over who you know, who might have a different respect level for your property.
Everybody's been great. I play music for them, let them pick the genre. Over a couple thousand at least so far.
Back at her pool, Erin Moriarty has weighed the risks and is considering getting an umbrella policy for extra coverage because she sees the potential for this pool to keep her financially afloat.
Or anything that you could potentially share and are willing to share, there's a market there to make money.
I'm Chris Conti.
As we start things off, giving you a view as we look from the east side of the Salt Lake Valley towards the west side, we are seeing some blue sky, a few clouds. Off in the distance, though, some dark, ominous clouds with some scattered thunderstorms that are beginning to make their move towards the Wasatch Front. We'll talk about the direction of those thunderstorms in just a few moments. Temperatures right now, well, afternoon highs slightly above normal, avoiding the triple digits. We've got calm winds, which is good news. Of course, as we're seeing near some of these thunderstorms, though, winds have been picking up. Air quality, though, much improved here throughout, from going from the middle of the week till today. Green, which means good all across northern Utah, tracking through the Wasatch Front. Weber, Davis, Salt Lake counties, also similar situation throughout Utah County and pretty much statewide. Yeah, we've been pushing the smoke out, breathing in some better air. But we've been noticing here, as we've been getting a few afternoon thunderstorms, watering guide. Yeah, Mother Nature helping to water our lawn in some spots. It hasn't been widespread, still a concern where the recommendation throughout most of the state in orange is watering your lawn twice, and again in the recommended times, which is of course late evening and the early morning hours. But let's move ahead though. As we've been bringing in this monsoon moisture, we've been seeing some scattered thunderstorms, even in a couple of spots where we've been looking at flash flooding. No flash flood warnings in effect right now, but the potential is still there moving to the early evening hours. And looking from the Storm Prediction Center, the chance of afternoon thunderstorms has been in effect pretty much statewide for today. Now I'm going to show you what the outlook is for tomorrow. Now we're bringing in some drier air, at least through northern, central, southwestern Utah. Still hanging on to a little bit of moisture across the east. All in all, though, the threat of afternoon thunderstorms, we're going to be decreasing it throughout the weekend. Still holding on to maybe an isolated mountain shower. But that's for tomorrow. We're still looking at today, though, with a big focus, especially as we look south central throughout central Utah. Again, earlier on, we had some heavy rains just east of Cedar City, south of Panguitch near Highway 89. Not seeing much of a threat right now. Some showers that have been tracking through Kanab beginning to also decrease. Moving further northward, though, we did have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for the areas such as Delta. Moving further towards the east, could potentially see some showers. But all in all, you're noticing where earlier on we had some intense rain. The yellows, the reds, they're beginning to die off. But a little different story here as we move across northern Utah. Again, as we look west side of the Great Salt Lake, those thunderstorms tracking through. If they continue in its energy, it could impact Weber and Davis County. Looks like there's no big concern right now, but definitely from these thunderstorms we could see dangerous lightning, gusty winds, maybe some hail, and some brief heavy rain as well. Now, high pressure in its current position has been pumping the moisture throughout the state. The high pressure moves towards the state, which allows the moisture to track then through Nevada and kind of wrap around the region, so we don't see much of a threat of those afternoon thunderstorms. So improvements as it pertains to the chance of rain, even though we need it, we'll decrease it here throughout the weekend. But we'll hold on to that chance along northern western Utah. Tomorrow it's warmer, mostly sunny skies. We're at 100 degrees in Salt Lake City, 103 in St. George, 93 in Blanchard. Landing. And for St. George, we keep it hot, but not as hot. And monsoon moisture will be returning come next week, giving us a chance of an afternoon shower Monday, Tuesday into Thursday as well. Northern Utah, it's dry, it's warming up, back into the triple digits. Then we start introducing some clouds. Not as much of a chance of an isolated thunderstorm, but the possibility is there Tuesday, potentially Thursday and Friday as well.
Breck, we do have some breaking news to pass along to everyone right now. There is a structure fire burning in Salt Lake City. Take a close look at this live look. You can see the smoke streaming up right in the center of your screen. We are told this is in the area of 8th West and 4th North. This is a live look from our Natural History Museum camera, zoomed in on that smoke. Luckily, thankfully, it seems to be dying down somewhat right now. We do have a Fox 13 News crew on the way to the scene. We will bring you more tonight on Fox 13 News at 9 and always online at fox13now.com.
After missing the cut at last month's U.S. Open, Tony Finau knew another mediocre round at the British might send him home early once again. Then again, Salt Lake's own made sure that did not happen with a solid round 2. Go back to Royal St. George's, where Tony went on a birdie spree while the rest of us slept. The front 9 especially good. Great tee shot at 3 with this thing settling in no more than a couple feet shy of the cup. Then at 5, a little wedge magic. Oh, yeah, I like that a lot. 4 birds on that front 9, capped by this putt at number 9. Finau moving to 4 under par and a tie for 17th. He's made 15 cuts now over his last 17 majors. Not bad. Shot of the day goes to an Englishman, Jonathan Thompson. Credit the local hero with an ace at number 1. As for the leader, Luis Oosthuizen doing enough to keep hold of that top spot. Eagle putt at 14 for a 2-shot lead on Colin Morikawa. Oosthuizen at -11. Phil Mickelson failed to make the cut. To the local links now for the semis of the Utah State Amateur. The first pair was Luke Crapo and Blake Tomlinson. Here's Tomlinson, 3 up through 10. He's into the brush on 11, but saves par with this nice chip. And then on 14, Tomlinson with a chip that goes the distance for another par. Luke needing to sink this one to stay alive, but he's short, sending Tomlinson into tomorrow's championship to get the winner between Martin Leone and Spencer Dunaway. Martin out of the bunker, almost sinking, but finishing 6 up with a 49. So the Ute freshman will take on his current Utah teammate Saturday for the crown at Alpine Country Club. Real Salt Lake tomorrow night ends a stretch of 10 days off with a visit to LAFC. The bad news is they'll be forced to go without one of their top young defenders for potentially the next several weeks. Andrew Brody has started 7 games this season for RSL and leads the club in tackles, but was injured during the last game against LA earlier this month. He just underwent surgery to repair a broken toe, leaving Donnie Toya as a potential replacement in Freddie Juarez's starting rotation.
It's a blow in general. When anybody gets injured and has to have surgery, it's rough all around. But on that note, obviously it's my turn to step in and prove myself again. And I think every player thinks they're capable of doing a job just as good as the other player or better, and that's definitely the way I look at it. You know, I think if you go in every day and your confidence is low, then you're not going to perform. So you just got to come in with the right mindset and push every day to prove that you want to be there and you're willing to put your best foot forward and show that that you should be in the starting lineup.
And the Utah Falcons survived some nasty weather last night to advance into the Women's National Football Conference's Pacific Conference Championship game. Gina Magana finding the end zone twice in that first quarter against LA Muerta de las Cruces of New Mexico in the semis. Utah with a 40-0 shutout to advance into tomorrow's conference title bout against San Diego. We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching Live at 5.
Hope you'll join us tonight for Fox 13 News Live at 9. Have a great evening.